Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while since I made a finance video, but today we're going to be talking about down payments. And so I have this fancy schmancy calculator here that I created in Excel that tells me the monthly payment that I'm going to be making on my mortgage depending on how much I put down and other factors like the taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and utilities. It also tells me right here in this specific area what income I would need to have to afford the home. Unlike, traditional websites like mortgagecalculator.com or .org, it does show you the monthly payment. It shows you PMI, which I can't calculate on my Excel sheet, but it does give you a good idea of what the PMI could possibly be. Since it's just a mathematical formula, my calculator is usually on par with the mortgagecalculator.org payment. So I get the PMI from here, and then I can see what my mortgage would be if I didn't put 20% down. I've got the 5% down payment in here. I've got the average Californian home price at $800,000. And so the problem with low down payments, the disadvantages with low down payments. I'll start with the disadvantages, get into the advantages. So anything below 20% is obviously going to be disadvantaged for the PMI. So you'll be paying PMI. Now, the higher of a down payment is up until the 20% threshold, though, you're not going to have PMI for as long. And so we can actually look at this at the mortgage calculator site. So I've got a 5% down payment at the moment. I'm going to have PMI for 7 years, about 82 payments. So let's change that to 10%. And let's go ahead and hit calculate. And so as you see, my PMI, not only does the payment go down, but the total payments goes down. So now I can only make 60 PMI payments. So that's about $36,000. Yep, $36,000. And so what if I change that to 15%? So if I look at 15%, I will only have this $567 payment for about almost 3 years. So as I increase my down payment, even though I have PMI, I will have PMI for a shorter period of time, which will allow my PMI to go away, decrease my mortgage payment, which isn't really a mortgage payment. The PMI part is not. The PMI part's just an insurance policy for the bank. All right. So bad news, if you have a low down payment, you will pay PMI for longer and a higher amount. Another disadvantage is that you are over leveraging yourself. So what I mean by that is that in case, a home price goes down in value and you get it appraised and you're screwed, that's if you have a low down payment, you have low equity in the home. Equity meaning you have a low stake in your own asset. So you don't own the asset yet. The bank owns it. And so let's say the home value drops from $800,000 to $750,000. Well, because of your equity, your stake in the home changes. All right, the value of the home changes. The stake that you have in your home changes. It decreases, and so you will be paying more than you should, is what ends up happening. So your mortgage payment will end up being for a more expensive home than what your home is actually worth, and that's called being underwater. And you don't want to be that way. You also don't want to have a high mortgage net ratio, front end ratio, or a net front end ratio. Net front end ratio is the number one way people should be evaluating their monthly mortgage payment. And so what the net front end ratio, what this shows is it's going to take everything that is included in your home. It's going to include HOA, tax, insurance, PMI, the monthly mortgage payment, the utilities, everything that has to do with the home, even the upkeep, the maintenance even. And it's going to divide that by your net monthly income. That's the net front end ratio. And this is the ultimate ratio everyone should be using. What people generally use to get qualified is something called this front end ratio. And so the front end ratio is going to take your It's going to be your payments. So it's the solid mortgage payment. So that's without the taxes, the insurance, the HOA. It's going to take that number, divide it by your gross monthly income. So that's what banks use, and they generally approve you around the 45 to 50% range. So they will let you pour 50% of your income into a mortgage payment, and they say that's okay. That's not okay. You want to use the net front end ratio. It's going to take into account every single living expense that you have for this home. So if you see a net front end ratio, that is the cost of the home after all expenses associated with the home divided by your net monthly income. And in this case, I have someone making $86,000 a year in California. Their tax bracket is 30% cumulatively. So that means their net income is only $60,000. They don't actually make $86,000. When we say we make $86,000, we don't make $86,000. We make $60,000 because that's after taxes, right? Because we get taxes pulled out of our paychecks. So the net monthly income is only $5,000. It is not higher than $5,000. It is $5,000 because that is what Uncle Sam takes out of your paycheck. This is reality. So we take the everything including utilities box right here. We divide it by this net monthly. And look, we have above 102%. This is not good. This means that you're not making enough money to even cover your mortgage related expenses. So even though technically your mortgage payment, quote unquote, is $3,204 per pay period, it's not because of insurance, HOA, taxes. It becomes $4,770. And then with utilities to add on to that, I mean, even if you didn't have an HOA, it would still be an absurd amount of your income. 86% of your income is being absorbed by this home. You were on crack cocaine, you're not allowed to own a home. You have to have 20% down, you have to have closing costs, you have to have other fees covered on top of it. So it's not, you never always just put down 20%. You're always going to put down a little bit more. Same with the 5%. If I'm putting down 5%, that could be covering other fees. So I'm actually maybe only putting down 3% at the end of the day because I have to roll all of my fees into my mortgage. That's what or it's a separate loan usually. They either put it into the mortgage or they put it as a separate loan that you have to pay. This 5% is at the end of the day probably not 5%. It's probably 3.5% because of the fees that you have to pay. I mean, if we look at the housing, let's just look it up, Google it, average home price in America 2022. 408,000. So it's now 408,000. So the benefit of increasing your down payment is now, after everything, I only paid $2,200, which is around the average price of an apartment, by the way, per month. The benefits of having that higher down payment is I don't have to worry about PMI, right? I have a lower monthly payment. I'm less likely to be underwater on my home in case of, a crash in my local area. I could also qualify for a higher interest rate. In fact, I could even switch to a 15-year mortgage, depending on how much I put down, and that will save me even more money in the long run because I will pay less interest. And so if we look at that, yeah, okay, it boosts you to about, just the mortgage alone is $2,250 a month, and then with the HOA and all that, $2,700-ish, and then with utilities, it's $3,053. There are a lot of videos that I'm seeing online where they say, you can save money with a 3% down payment versus a 5% down payment. Well, that's incorrect in every single possible way imaginable. You cannot save more money by putting less down on the home. Sure, you could invest the 2% extra that you didn't put down to make it 5%. Sure, you could put that in the stock market. But if we're talking numbers like in the $8,000 range, if you're just setting aside $8,000 and not touching it, not reinvesting that $8,000 per month, $8,000 per year, then you have the wrong mindset. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, you need to go all in and you need to invest preferably more than 10% of your net income into retirement. I personally am going to start investing 20 to 25% of my income once I pay off debt. Just getting back on track with the video, increasing the down payment will save you money, period. It will save you on interest because you will pay less in interest because you have less of a mortgage to owe. And that's just the math. I mean, look, if I went to the mortgagecalculator.com and I said, down payment of 5%, how much interest am I going to pay? Total interest paid $393,500. What if I changed it to 10%? Now it's $372,000. Okay, what if I changed it to 20%? Now I'm not only saving on the interest, which is $331,000, I am saving on the PMI, which was an additional around $36,000, which is crazy. And if I didn't want to pay HOA fees, I would just move to an area without HOA fees, which is what I would recommend because I hate HOA fees. It's just the math behind it. It boggles my mind when people think that, a lower down payment will save you money. No. Actually, increasing the down payment will lower your interest rate because banks will view you as a safer lendy. It will decrease your interest rate, and if you can get enough down payment and you can do the 15-year mortgage, it will decrease the interest rate even further. And so, although you will be paying more per month, you will be paying less interest. You won't be paying PMI, and it will be glorious. $800 monthly HOA fee. Ooh, that's rough. It should have been around $300. Whoops. There we go. That's perfect. All right. Yep, that makes more sense. Yeah, imagine having an $800 HOA fee. You must be living in like a retirement community. But I just thought it'd be very fun to make a short video on more, down payments. I just wanted to clear the air and give people the insight needed to realize that a higher down payment is the way to go. If you can, if you can't, you can't. Obviously, owning a home should be everyone's number one priority because it's the one thing that we can pass on to our children. It's not necessarily an investment, but it's a safety thing. You have a home to live in that you own, that you can keep and you can pass on. And that's one of the great things about owning a home. So thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you in the next video.